You can listen to this practice wherever you find yourself today. You can be sitting down or laying down or even stretching and doing things if that's what you got to do. And hopefully wherever you're at when you listen, this will still be helpful to you in some way. And if you would like to listen in a still position, just allow yourself to take all the time you need to arrive there. And let yourself fidget, adjust, stretch, or move in whatever ways your body wants to move. As you do your best to not think about the movements at all, but more letting your body move you in the ways that intuitively feel good in your bones, muscles, and joints right now. Not worrying about what the movements look like, but just coming fully into that sense of feeling and trusting and following those yummy sensations that you might feel when you do some neck rolls, side body bends, torso twists, cat-cow motions with the spine, rolling out the shoulders, just anything at all that feels good in your body. Trusting your instincts with movement. And if what your instincts are saying is that now's the time to be still, then honoring that need for stillness whenever that feels like what you need. And there's no rush whatsoever. You can keep moving throughout this practice whenever you feel the need to. But at any point, if you haven't already, you can make your way to that still position, just checking in that the spine is nice and straight wherever you are. And if you're in a space where you feel safe and would like to, you can allow the eyes to gently close at any time if they aren't already. You can now mark your arrival into your practice today and into your body today with a full and intentional cleansing breath. Calling in fresh new air into the body, filling up to every corner and edge of you as you just hold that for a moment once you're full, to experience this sense of fullness in the body. And without straining as you need to, slowly letting it all go. Exhaling bit by bit. And gently pulling the navel toward the spine at the bottom of the exhale to really push any last bit of stagnant air out of you. As you again pause for a moment here to now experience this sense of emptiness in the body. As you allow your next breath to come in as it's needed. And you can keep breathing just like this for as many rounds as feels good and helpful to you. Just exaggerating the 4 parts of your breath. The inhale, the pause, followed by the exhale and the pause. Not worrying about the length of your inhales, exhales, and pauses on either side. Just letting each of these parts be exaggerated, whatever that means for you right now. So when the body naturally feels full and would stop inhaling, seeing if you can expand your belly just a little bit more to take in one more moment's worth of air. And when you would naturally roll over to your exhale, seeing if you can hold off on that for one extra moment to stay with that fullness. And then as you exhale, even once you think you're empty, seeing if you can push one more bit of air out of you. And then staying in that emptiness for one extra moment before allowing your next breath to come as it's needed. As we just consciously and intentionally slow down the 4 parts of the breath. therefore communicating to our nervous system that now is a time to slow down. Again, you can continue to breathe like this for as many rounds as feels good and helpful to you. But at any point, if you haven't already, you may release this guidance over your breath altogether as you allow yourself to step almost back and up in the mind and into that role of the observer or the witness, into that perspective where you are now simply watching the fact that your body is breathing rather than having any direct control over the rhythm or depth of the breath. But remembering how our breath is the one bodily function that can be either voluntary or automatic. And so letting go of that voluntary guidance we just had over the breath as you now observe the automatic process that is your body breathing you. Remembering how our bodies do breathe all on their own, even when you're in a deep state of sleep. Our bodies function perfectly to keep us alive without any of our direction or doing. So just taking a step back and watching these processes. The same way that you may watch waves as they roll up along the shoreline. You don't try to change the size or speed of the waves as they come and go. You just have a seat and watch as they come and go. And as you watch your gentle breath, you can just notice any areas of tension gathering in the body. Maybe first focusing on the face. And even with the eyes closed, seeing any expression that could be resting on the face. Making note of any emotions that could be communicated by this resting expression. Maybe the brow is tense, the eyelids could be squeezing shut, nostrils could be flared, the jaw could be tense and holding, and even the chin or the ears could be holding some remaining tension. And you can just allow your awareness of this tension be all that you need to instead allow the face to soften. And allow your jaw to just hang into place. Maybe opening and closing the mouth a few times before finding that center space where the jaw is just hanging there. The tongue releases from the roof of the mouth. And the lips rest gently on one another. As you let that sense of release in the mouth naturally trickle out and up as you feel the cheeks relax even more. Feeling how that softens the nostrils, even the chin, and even the ears and the upper jaw. As you now feel your eyelids soften even more. As you just let the eyelids rest softly on one another. And you feel your forehead become just a little bit wider and a little bit deeper. Simply with this release. Maybe even feeling your brain resting in your skull. As you allow even your gaze to be soft, wherever it is you happen to be looking, whether that be at the world outside of you or at the world inside of you. Maybe at the backs of the eyelids, or maybe peering up into the forehead, or maybe the eyes roll back even further and peer into the skull. Wherever it is that your eyes happen to be looking, just letting your gaze almost glaze over so that you can see everything that is in your vision rather than one specific thing. Even if everything that you're seeing is just darkness, looking into that space. As you now allow this same sense of softness and release to naturally continue to trickle down the body, down the entire scalp, down the back and sides of the neck, as the shoulders become a little heavier. The muscles down the arms almost roll off of the bones. As you feel the natural curve of your fingers in your soft hands. Maybe even feeling now the heartbeat that exists in both hands. Remembering that your heart is physically connected to both of your hands through veins and vessels. And the steady rhythm and pulse that is in your own heart is in both hands and all fingers as well. And with your awareness, just tracing that space between your hands up through both wrists, both lower arms, the upper arms, through the shoulders as your awareness meets at the space between the shoulders in your own heart. As you now remember the true gift that this heart is, and how there is nothing in particular that you are doing to make or to earn your beating heart. But this is a pure gift that comes included in this life and in this body. This heart has been feeding life and love into you from before you were even breathing air. From the time you were in your mother's womb up to this exact moment. And this heart will continue to work hard for you and feed life and love into you for as long as you exist in this body. And this heart is your own personal and direct line of connection to whatever source or force allows all of our hearts to beat. Whatever source all of life comes from. You are directly connected to this source because you are alive. You are an extension of this source. And there's nothing that you can do that will take that connection away. But there will be times where we feel that connection, and that feels true, and it feels comforting and bright and wonderful and all the good things. And there will be other times where we feel completely disconnected. We feel like we're in the dark and we're suffering. But this is true, this innate connection we have to this source or force, whatever all of life comes from. This is true, regardless of if we feel that way or not. And so that can be comforting if you find yourself feeling disconnected and in darkness, because you can rest with the knowledge that you are protected, you are safe, you are an extension of all of the love, all of the life, even when it doesn't feel like it. And we will always be moving through phases where we feel it and where we don't. And so you can rest with the knowledge that you will feel that connection again someday. Just like the moon, we will wax and wane with this knowledge, with this comforting truth. Sometimes we will feel whole and bright and illuminated and connected and like we're capable of shining light for others in the darkness. And other times we will feel like the darkness itself, like more of a new moon, where we're still there, but people can barely see us in the shadows, and we feel disconnected and in the dark. And there's nothing wrong with the moon when it is in that new moon phase. And so there is nothing wrong with you or anyone else when they are in a dark phase of life. It's just simply another phase we will all move through over and over again. along with all of the phases in between, both extremes. And so that same truth can also be a comforting permission for you to fully enjoy and make the most out of all the goodness that you feel when you feel it. You do not need to feel guilty for feeling good when you know so many others are suffering. And you can instead use all of that goodness and light that you feel to shine for others who are in darkness, knowing that the tables will turn. And someday you will be back in darkness, and maybe someone else who you shone light to will be whole and shine that for you. We are not meant to escape all the phases of change and feel good and whole all of the time. And that expectation in itself can be the source of great suffering. And so instead, what we can do is remind ourselves that whatever it is I'm feeling is temporary and is exactly what I should be feeling, simply because I'm feeling it. And we don't move on from feelings by shoving them down, by ignoring them, by drowning them out, by pretending they're not there. But we allow them to arise from within us and release outside of us in whatever way they need to be released. Whether that be through tears, through laughter, through screaming, through singing, through anything. Whatever that emotion is calling for. Letting it arise from within you and release outside of you. Because you will not drown, you will not be crushed, but you will lighten your load. Versus when we shove them back down inside of us, they only become embedded more within our subconscious and control our actions more insidiously. And so when you feel that bubbling up of emotions, just doing your best to find a safe space and allow them to release. Trusting that you will feel lighter, knowing that every storm runs out of rain. And even when it feels like it'll last forever, we know it won't, because nothing does. And all we can count on in this life is that everything changes. And the flowers are a great reminder of this as well. Flowers are not constantly blooming. They have to move through seasons of death and decay in order to bloom again. And so do we. And so you can just check back in with the body, reminding all of the muscles throughout the body to release a little bit deeper if any tension has crept back. And simply allow yourself to be exactly as you are right now. Finding a sense of acceptance with exactly who you are right now. remembering that acceptance does not mean that we necessarily like or agree with what is. It just means that we acknowledge reality. And so it is possible for you to accept yourself fully for who you are right now, while at the same time having goals and aspirations to grow in a different direction. And you can just trust that small daily actions that better support your own well-being, your own health, your loves, your fascinations, your interests. Small actions that revolve more around the wonders that you feel in this life, that you see, will gradually create a life that feels wonderful and purposeful for you, as well as the people you are surrounded by. This will ultimately be what is best for everyone. And so it is not selfish for you to revolve your focus around the things that spark your sense of joy and wonder and fascinations. It will naturally awaken that same sense of wonder and give others permission to do the same. We all have a unique purpose here. We all have things that we are uniquely drawn toward. And sometimes we can think that everyone feels that way, so there's no room for me in that world, because I'm sure everyone's just trying to get into that world. But that is often not true, I find. If you feel really drawn to do something, to create something, to be a part of a world that you see, trust that, follow that. Allow yourself to explore your interests. That can often be just the start of a whole world opening up. Because not everyone feels the same way that you feel. And so your interests, the things you feel naturally drawn toward, are things that you should explore further. Because odds are you have great things to offer that world. And there is enough space for all of us, no matter what other people say or how it feels. There is enough room for you and for everyone. You do not need to make yourself any smaller than you are. So you can take a moment now to bring your attention back to the hands. And feeling once again this heartbeat that is in both hands and all your fingers. Feeling this pulse, almost like there were two balls of light in each of your hands, or one ball of light in each hand. that naturally takes the shape of the natural curve of your fingers. Just noticing anything at all that you feel or see as you remember how all of this love and life that is being pumped into your body through your heart every moment of every day is directly connected to every inch of your body, directly connected to your hands. And your hands have the power that is in your heart. Your hands have the power to create and to heal through the love that is in your heart. And just fueling this connection between your heart and hands simply by being aware of it, by remembering it is there. Trusting that you are already on your way to exactly where you want to be. And just be so patient and kind to yourself along the way. Life is a long game. This is not a race. We do not want it to be over before it's meant to be. We do not want to race to the end. We just want to enjoy the journey. And so you can allow yourself to sprinkle in as many of your joys into your daily life as you can. Remembering these small things that bring us true joy, such as being with the people we love, cooking a good meal, playing with animals or watching animals, touching grass, looking at the sky, simple things that we can so easily forget in this technological world we're all in now. But each time you remember, you will have a little bit more peace, softness, and joy. So you can take the next few moments now to just allow everything to settle. Allow every single word you've heard today, every single feeling that you've felt today to just settle. Almost as if every word and feeling was a little speck of glitter in a snow globe. And your body is that snow globe. And now is the time where we set you down, let the glitter settle, and let the air clear. As you trust that anything at all that you heard today that resonated with you, or struck a chord, or rang true in some way. Trusting that those feelings sometimes come when we hear on the outside what a part of ourselves already knows to be true on the inside. And so allowing these truths to be enhanced within you so that you feel a little bit more confidence to act on your own intuition. to act on what you already know to be true, and trusting your instincts. Your instincts and your intuition is one of your greatest powers, maybe your greatest power in this life. And so you never have to give that away to anyone else. If anyone tries to convince you that you don't know what's best for you, or they know what's best for you, or you need them for anything, just letting those things alone be a cue for you to never give that power away. And you can always reclaim this power at any time if you have given it away. And we do need other people. We do need our loved ones. And we learn so much about ourselves through our relationship with others. But we do not ever need to fully give ourselves up and stop trusting ourselves because of another person. And the true people that love us and that we love will always support and encourage your relationship with yourself, and will help you deepen that relationship with yourself through their love. And so if it feels like something you would like to do today, you can now let the pulse in both hands, or maybe the light in both hands if you still feel that, to bind each other. As your hands come to a prayer position toward heart center, feeling this contact of your palms and fingers to one another as you press your thumbs toward your heart and let your heart lift back toward your thumbs. As you feel once again all of this power generated through you. And allow yourself to take one final deep and full breath into the body as you fill up to every corner and edge of you with this fresh, new air. And as you exhale, letting go of anything at all that you're ready to let go of as you allow the head to gently bow. As you take this moment to bow to the source of energy that allows all of our hearts to beat, whatever you believe that to be. And now bowing to everyone else in this space who has listened and completed this practice right alongside you. And finally, bowing to yourself for choosing to show up today and taking the time out of your busy life for this pure act of self-love and self-care. And may this act continue to heal you through the rest of your days and nights, and may bring the same love and understanding to everything you do and to everyone that you see. Thank you. Thank you, guys. If you want to stay in this zone a little longer, you can feel free to just float on out of here. Lots of comments here. I'm going to read through these comments real quick. Hello, Patrice. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much, Mike, for your donation. Thank you for any and all donations whenever they come through. They really are amazing and help support me and motivate me to keep doing these lives. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mike says, no other insight teachers have the beneficial effect on my mental health than you have. Oh, thank you so much, Mike. That's amazing to hear. Wow, thank you. I can't always attend, but I'm always happier when I came. I love that. That makes me very happy to hear, and I'm screenshotting that for when I doubt myself. I have all of like the nice comments I get on social media. I favorite them. So when I'm like just feeling like shit, I can just read that stuff and be like, okay, I'm doing something right. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Bright says, I resonate so much with your words. I have been in the darkness almost 6 years. I'm so sorry, dealing with stuff, and it has been difficult. Last year, there started to be cracks of light and major shifts. Lovely. Fast forward to now, and after feeling so heavy and full of darkness for such a long time, I finally feel light. Oh, I love it. I am still going between the old and new. You always will. But I can feel the new, and it feels full of life, which was muddled underneath all the darkness. The new feels good, light, and full of new things. I'm looking forward to what life has in store for me and the new energies that follow. I love that so much, Bright. That is amazing to hear. I feel you so much. We can spend a lot of time in darkness, and what I try to remember, for myself at least, is that even in the darkness, there's always little cracks of light that shine through that you don't really notice in the moment. But you can kind of think back to times and be like, oh yeah, I mean, I still laughed and had fun even in the most hellish of times. Every once in a while, like little peaks will always come through. And I spent a long time just trying to never be in the darkness ever again. Because if my health history has been kind of nuts. I've had many different surgeries, been on the verge of death many times. So it's been a lot of times where it feels like just complete and utter darkness, and there's nothing positive whatsoever. But when I even look back to those times, it can feel like there will always be mini cycles, like within the larger cycles. Like, yeah, there's a span of 10 years of just hell. But then even within those 10 years, there's little cycles within there. And then within those cycles, there's more little cycles. Like within our days, we have waves of emotions, and we go through the cycles of emotions. And then within the hours, we have that as well. And within the minutes, we have that as well. So when it gets really heavy and dark, you just take it minute by minute or second by second sometimes, and just, right, this second sucks, but maybe the next second will be a little better, or just, be more bearable. But I'm so happy to hear that you're feeling good and light and all the good things, because that's another thing I remind myself of, is like the depth. Wait, how did I word? I word is the depths of your lows are directly related to and affected by the heights of your highs. Or maybe the other way around. Like the heights of your highs are directly related to and affected by the depths of your lows. So like the lowest I've ever been was also kind of the happiest I ever was, because I was just so happy of the smallest things. Like just seeing a pretty sunset was just the most amazing thing in the world. And before I was at that low of a place, I'm just like, oh, it's the sun, whatever. Like it doesn't matter. But it just makes you appreciate the little things so much more, which I'm so grateful for and will always be able to tap back into. Bonnie says, wishing you pure peace, love, and light for every single one of you here and for all. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Love that. Thank you, Perry. I'm glad you liked it. Have a great weekend too. That's a lovely thing to do for yourself. Yeah, thanks. Spreading the Ruthiness. Love it. Greg, trying to do what's right for me and not follow what others are doing. Changing how I eat and being more aware of myself. Yes, absolutely. It's so easy to follow what others are doing. And, to some extent, we get ideas from watching other people. But ultimately, it is, I think everyone always feels a little bit better when they they just do the things that you want to do. Like those, and I said this in the meditation, but what I'm really was focusing on was the feelings that I had before I started making guided meditations, like 5 years ago or whenever that was. Because a few people have expressed a similar idea to me, where I spent 3 years where I was like doing yoga, doing meditation, and really wanted to teach it, but I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was like, everyone wants to do this. Like, they don't need another yoga teacher, another meditation teacher. Like, there's so many people doing it already. I'm not going to do it. And I mentioned that to a teacher friend of mine. And she was like, not everyone wants to. Like, what do you mean? She's like, most people who go to meditations and classes, and yoga classes, don't want to teach. Like, that's why they're going to the class. They want to be a student in the class and not the teacher. And I was like, really? Like, I thought that was everyone just really wanted to do deep down. But it was no, so that's what I wanted to do. And there was a reason I wanted to do it, because I'm supposed to be doing it. And so if you feel that way about putting meditations on Insight Timer, or putting videos on YouTube, or just sharing the things that you want to say in any world, do it. Because it's not there's no more excuses. Not everyone wants to do exactly what you want to do. If you feel really drawn towards something, trust it, because that's probably where you're needed the most and where you'll provide the most value, because you'll be excited and inspired and, have a lot to offer that world. So I encourage all that. Thank you, Emma and Poppy. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. And Bright. And Emma says, your words about darkness helped me release pent-up sadness and feeling so much lighter. I'm so happy to hear that. So appreciate you and everything you do and the gift you share. Thank you so much. Yes, just open the valve, let the tears. I cried so much yesterday. That's probably what my eyes are very swollen. My eye psoriasis flares up when I cry a lot. Yeah, it's been a rough time, but you always feel better after crying. I never feel worse after crying. I mean, maybe sometimes, but you just have to cry more. I don't know. When you cry the right amount, I always feel lighter and better than just numbing it, which I'm very prone to do. Present moment for the win. Yeah, Perry. Hannah, hello. She says, yes, I think I get stuck when it's not feeling good. Yes, and then it won't go away. So it's always a nice reminder of the beautiful moments in between when it's difficult. Absolutely. Yeah. And I always say the nature of depression and the nature of just feelings in general, good or bad, is that they convince us that this is how we've always felt and how we always will feel. And that it's just, this is how it is. This is how I am. I am just a sad person. I am just this way. But that will never be true, because the only thing that's true is that everything changes. And the same thing is true during really happy stages of life. We feel like this is how it's always been. I can't even imagine feeling sad. And so it's a really helpful reminder when I'm in a depressed state. I mean, obviously, get the help that you need, but it is temporary. And sometimes we can get stuck there for a long time, but it's still temporary, because everything is. You should try to have a retreat sometime. That'd be fun. I have taught on retreats before, or just one retreat. The school that I got my yoga teacher training done, I taught on their retreat in 2020, February 2020. Yeah. I haven't been, that was right before the whole world blew up. So I haven't done anything since then. But if at some point, I would definitely need other people to help me. But thanks for that encouragement. Thank you, Bright, for your donation. Eileen says, I feel that too about teaching and coaching. We don't need another. If you feel that way, though, maybe we need you. Because I'm telling you, I felt like not everyone feels that way. Not everyone is like, oh, well, there's already so many people doing that. It's just, I really think that's like, it's a fear of like the thing that like we really want to do. Because it's a lot of times like the things we really want to do, we avoid because it's, I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I encourage you to even just like I've recorded probably hundreds of videos and meditations and like things that nobody will ever hear that are just lost or they got deleted. I didn't feel like posting them. There's so many things that people don't see. So you feel free to just be like, I'm just going to pretend. I'm just going to pretend that I'm going to teach a class. I'm just going to pretend that I'm going to coach a person, record it, and just see what happens, see how I feel, see, because you might really surprise yourself. You might just be able to keep talking. And I surprise myself literally every time I've done these. Like, I look at the thing, it's been over an hour and I've just been talking the whole time. And if I were to like ask myself, can you talk right now for an hour straight? I'd be like, hell no, obviously not. But like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but you might be the same way. So I encourage that if you feel like it. Bright says, we are all unique and bring our own uniqueness to people. Yes, the right people who resonate with us and what we have to offer will find us. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Thank you guys so much. I mentioned my YouTube channel. So you can just search my name on YouTube and it should come up, or there's a link to it in the link tree that's in my Insight Timer profile. In the link tree, there's links to all my things, my website, Instagram, YouTube, all of that stuff. So if any of that interests you, it is there. There's also on my YouTube a whole playlist called Ruthie Rambles. And it's just what it sounds like. It's just me rambling for hours and hours about my thoughts on things, as well as a health history and updates playlist where it's just what it sounds like as well. I share more about my diagnosis with ulcerative colitis, getting my colon removed, living with an ostomy bag, and now a J pouch, all the surgeries I've had and things like that. And just still, and I'm having scopes done at the end of February. Like I'm sick every day. It sucks. But I share a lot about that stuff on YouTube. And I know it's something that a lot of people experience and not a lot of people like to talk about because it's inherently embarrassing, but I talk a lot about it. So if it relates to you or interests you, it is all out there. And yeah, I think that's all I got for you. Have a great rest of your Friday, everyone, and have a great weekend. And I hope to see you next week. Okay, bye.